a few that I felt were quite that stood out based on again the questions that you sent in. So one is that only experts can write winning proposals. And that is a misconception. Why? Because anyone can learn how to write a winning proposal if you're able to adopt the right approach. And I have seen persons that their English is not even so good. Their writing composition generally is not professional standard, but they were still able to apply some key components or some key things that funders look out for in their grant applications, and they won. So it's not, you don't have to be a professional grant writer to be able to win proposals, to be able to win grants or opportunities or anything that you are writing your proposals for. Then we also have the another terrible misconception that you can use one proposal for all the applications that you are trying to make. So for instance, some persons may reach out to a particular organization using one general proposal that they developed for every other person. And the challenge with that is that every funder, don't forget, a funder is an organization. There is no funder that is, every funder is an organization that has its own priorities, that has what they are looking out for in the persons that they partner with. So it's not going to be very, very strategic to send a proposal that is developed for one funder to another funder because you feel it was well written. You must always tailor your proposal to the funder, to what the funder is looking out for. And we're going to look at this more in detail very soon. So the next one is this: if I don't win, it means my project is bad. So I think I've mentioned that before. So winning grants is a game of numbers. Winning opportunities is a game of numbers. So it does not always mean that your project is bad. In fact, the truth is that there are persons that may have very good project ideas, but because they do not know how to communicate and sell that project idea, funders will not buy into it, and it will lead to the rejection of the proposal. But it does not mean that the project is bad. And again, it might even be that, yes, your project was so well written, you try to tailor it, but the funder may, for instance, feel that they can only pick one organization from your region. And maybe there are 10 very good organizations in your region, and maybe there's just one extra factor that they now decide to use to pick the person they eventually select. So it does not mean that your project is bad because you did not win a particular proposal. However, if your proposals keep on getting rejected over and over and over, then it means that there's something you are doing wrong. So it does not mean your project is bad, but it will most likely mean that the way you are communicating your project to the funder is not very strategic. Then the next one, the best idea always wins. So I think I have addressed this. So it's not the best idea that always wins, but it is the idea that is presented in the best way that always wins. So in Nigeria, there is a slang that we use where we say it's about packaging, how you get to package yourself. What that means is how you get to present yourself, how your outlook looks. That is what matters in writing winning proposals. So it is how can I package or present my idea in a way that aligns with the funder's goals, in a way that aligns with the funder's priorities. Then the fourth one, there's so much competition, so it's not worth applying. So the fact that there is so much competition does not automatically mean that you should not apply for it. So for instance, you might see there are certain grants that are extremely competitive. So for instance, USADF, I don't know if under the current Trump administration, they will still be able to continue their grant programs, but I'm very familiar with USADF and their grants applications are extremely competitive. Regardless or despite that, persons are winning them. So that means that they can be won. So don't get discouraged by, oh, this grant is competitive or this application is competitive and you don't shoot your shots. We miss 100% of the shots that we don't shoot. But the best thing, of course, is for your proposal to be strategic, well researched. Then the next or the final misconception I'll be addressing is that only large or established organizations get funding. And this issue came up a lot in the questions that you sent in when you registered. So what I'll say is that yes, many funders favor organizations that have a track record. And by track record, I meant, like I said initially, if a funder sees that you already have partnerships with this funder or that funder, it already tells them that to a large extent, your project is credible, your program is credible. So it gives a leverage in securing more funding, which is an issue actually that new organizations face and new projects face. But nonetheless, first of all, there are some funders that focus their grant funding on new organizations, and one of that is the prize. The prize. So the prize focuses entirely on new innovations, new organizations, new ideas. If you're an established organization, they're not going to fund you. So, and there are a few others as well, like the prize. You can look into it later. Again, there are also some proposals that when you see the request for proposals, like the RFP, you see that they still allow for new organizations in as much as they allow for established ones. So what that will mean, of course, is that yes, you may not have the same leverage that the established organizations might have, but you can still be strategic, and we are going to address that as we move on. All right, so let's get into the meat of today in structuring your proposal. So what are the key components of a winning proposal? So the first one is, of course, your executive summary. And like you know, if I've ever encountered executive summary, not just in proposal writing, but in business writing or academic writing, executive summary is written when you have written every other aspect of your proposal, and then you try to, let's say, sum it all up into a power-packed and short proposal with a very, very clear value proposition for the funder that you're applying to. So what does this mean? So when you are writing executive summary, it's most likely the very first thing, or it will be the very first thing that a funder is going to be looking at. And there are different ways this happens. So I'm sure that if you have been involved in grant writing, you have seen that different funders sometimes would even give you their form or the RFP form to fill, and they structure everything. But these components that I'm mentioning are stuff that you are going to find in basically any, like should I say 90% of the applications you'll be applying for, you would see questions like this, even if they are not framed like this. This is what they are going to be asking you for. So maybe you may see a question like, in 100 words, describe your project. That is the executive summary they are talking about. And in that executive summary, like I mentioned, it is when you have completely addressed these other components of your proposal that you come to it. And what must be in your executive summary? It must have a very clear value proposition, a strong case in few words. So one of the first things is that you must be able to define your project in one sentence. If you have not been able to define your project in one sentence of about 15 to 20 words, so I mean, like a short sentence. If you have not been able to define your project in one sentence, then you have not strategically thought into your project in a way that will help you to write winning proposals. So the first thing first is, are you able to, if I meet you today and ask you, oh, what is your project about? Are you able to explain it to me in a very clear way, in a way that a younger child would understand in one sentence? That is how you would know if you have been able to discover, as we also see, both the problem and fully understand the problem, the solution, the assumption of your project. So the next one is your problem statement. Now, I always tell persons that your problem statement is like is the foundation of both project designing and proposal writing. If you have not understood a problem, you cannot solve it. That's like the foundation. So that is why a person gave a quote that said, "A problem well stated is a problem half solved." Because if you have not understood the problem that you're trying to solve, you cannot solve it. It is impossible. And it's always very easy, or for if you once you or for funders that have professionals that they hire to evaluate projects and proposals, once you already have some familiarity with project design, if you see a project that the problem is not well understood, it's more like you will know it from the beginning. Let me just put it in that way. You will know from the beginning a project that the problem is not understood. And if, as a funder, I see that you do not even understand the problem that you are trying to solve, then I cannot possibly give you any money around it, because it means that my money will go to waste. Because if you have not understood the problem, it will be impossible for you to develop a solution that will meet that problem. And how do you get to understand your problem, the problem that you are solving? First of all, we have this concept of problem trees. So this is a sample of a problem tree. So I got this image from ISD. This is a project that is within our environmental space. And you can see that they were able to identify the core problem. So first of all, there's a core problem that the project wanted to solve, which is encroachment into a protected area. And then the next thing is that they identified what are the root causes. What are the root causes of this problem? Behind the what are the things that, when I look at this problem, these are the factors that are behind it. So you identify the root causes of the problem. And then the next thing, you also have the effects of the problem. So you can see, this is another way that you can see this. You may see people that will tell you, primary problem, secondary problem, tertiary problem. It's just this is different wording, but it's the same thing. For most problems, there's no problem basically that exists by itself. It's always interconnected. So it means that for every problem, there will be a problem. For every problem identified, be it environmental pollution, be it climate change or anything, when you begin to dig deeper to identify what is causing this, there's always going to be root factors. And after root factors, there are also going to be effects. So it is very important to always understand these three levels of the problem that you are trying to solve. Why? Because in your assumption, as we'll see when we get the theory of change, which again, like I said, most funders will ask you about, even if they don't ask you as what is your theory of change or what is your logical assumption, they will ask you in another way. So in your assumptions of how you want to solve the solution and the problem that you say that you are solving, it will depend on what you believe the root causes to be and what you believe the effects to be. So this is something that you have to fully understand to be able to develop a good problem statement. So the next thing is data. It's very important to write a compelling problem statement. It's very important that you have your data. Okay, you say that there is encroachment in a particular community, there is encroachment into a protected area, or there is plastic pollution in your community, or there is deforestation. The next question is, what is the size? How big is this thing? And why is that very important? It's important because there are so many problems to solve in this world. And for funders, you would even know that every funder usually gives specific things that they want their funding to address. So if you are not able to show why the problem you're identifying is important, then it won't be a priority, because the world is full of problems. We all know that the world is full of problems. And even within our environmental green space and socioeconomic space, in our social impact space, there are 1,000 and billion problems that happen every day or that come up every day. But we are trying to, or funders look out for problems that are most critical and problems that solving them will solve other problems. So again, let's use the example of maybe you say the issue of deforestation in your community. So even if the funder wants to is specifically funding projects that have to do with deforestation, they may be looking out for projects that problems that are occurring in regions that are very critical. So for instance, in the Amazon, where the Amazon rainforest is one of the biggest oxygen givers, let me use that word, biggest lungs of the world, as we call it, and the biggest absorbers of CO2. So if your project is in Amazon, it already gives it a form of priority and urgency. Again, if you're able to show that within your community, maybe your community is a community that maybe the more they are causing deforestation, the more it's having ripple effects. Maybe children, fathers and mothers are losing their income, it's affecting the ability of children to go to school, people are losing employment, people are getting poorer, etc., etc. You are demonstrating that your problem is one that has, a lot of effects, and so we should solve this thing. And then you're also showing that if we solve this problem, there are so many gains it's going to benefit. So the way you frame your problem is very, very vital. And one of the ways to do that, as I said first, understand the problem. You can use the problem tree framework. What is the problem? What are the root causes? What are the effects? And then your data, have data. Your data should be able to demonstrate that this problem is. So please, can we mute? So your problem should be able to understand, your problem statement should be able to show that the problem you are trying to solve is very important, very urgent, must be addressed as soon as possible. And again, a very good way that you can now tie all this together, where you have your data that is showing the numbers, you have your well-researched problem trees that helps us understand that, okay, you understand the background and effects of this problem, is to tell everything in the framework of a story. So for instance, in one of the brands that I mentioned that I was able to help a particular organization to win, one of the things that set apart that particular proposal was that it began with a very, very compelling story, a very moving story. So of course, your funders are human beings, and many times also funders are organizations that also raise funds from other parties, whether it is government or private philanthropists. So they also use the projects you submit or the project that they select to also win further grants. So there is that, should I say, that emotional currency that stories bring to your problem statement. So if your project is deforestation in a particular community and it has other effects, like maybe children are not able to go to school because their parents are losing their income or stuff like that, you can start with a very moving story, like Ada is from so and so community. She's just 3 years old, and she's just 10 years old, and despite the fact that this is the age she's also supposed to be in school, she's hawking in the market. Why is that? Because her parents do no longer have the income that they had from the forests that are being destroyed by so and so people. So already within the first sentence of your problem statement, you have told us a story that demonstrates the effects and the urgency of the problem that you are trying to solve. And of course, it's always good to use persons that are vulnerable in society because, of course, grants, as I said, the whole objective is of funders is to see how they can support projects that are most pressing. So if you are able to use vulnerable vulnerable communities or vulnerable individuals, the better in your storytelling. And again, in storytelling, you can have fact fiction. What I mean is this. So, on one hand, you can use stories from what you're already doing. So, at Big Good Africa, for instance, one of our initiatives is Eco Rose initiatives. And a particular project that I really love is one in Kenya where girls from that high school were able to recycle banana waste, which is farm waste, which of course is causing environmental harm, into pads that are used to, prevent or terminate period poverty, enable girls to go to school and all that. And if you see the testimonial of that particular story, when you see it, you are moved. Even if you're not a funder, you are moved. How much more if it is a funder that is interested in women's issues or in solving period poverty? So telling stories gives that emotional currency. So I think I'll have to be rushing a bit now because time is fast spent already. Okay, then you also have to look at your solution, and your solution should have clear, measurable objectives. Now, look at the keywords that are here: clear, measurable objectives. So your solution must be very clearly stated, and it should be so clear how your solution is going to tackle the problem that you identified. So you see the same way that your problem has a problem tree has these 3 layers. You should be able to state your solution or your intervention in a way that addresses these 3 layers. That is what I mean by that adequately tackle the problem. That is that for solution, and we may have time to look at examples later. Now, a very, very key part, your logic framework or theory of change. And your logic framework or theory of change will also be is very based on how well you understand the problem. So what is your logic framework or what is your theory of change? So they are very similar, but the difference is that logic framework is usually more condensed and shows the relationship between your activities and your outputs and your outcomes on the problem that you identified. So you have said, oh, you want to stop deforestation in a particular community. In your logic framework, you are showing what are the activities I'm going to be doing, what are the immediate outputs of those activities, what are the immediate outcomes of those activities. So it's like a more condensed version of a theory of change. Theory of change is the more detailed version. So the logic framework puts everything in condensed form. We just want to see what are you doing, what are the activities, what are the immediate outcomes or outputs, that's the correct wording of those activities. And then what will those outputs lead to, which is your outcomes. That is the overview of logic framework. For your theory of change, it is more expansive. And in bigger projects, theory of change are usually based on actual theories of change. Let me use it like that. So usually that is why it's very important as well to, if you can afford it, or even if you can just do informal surveys of the communities that you want to tackle a particular problem in, to understand the real issues, because you have to understand the assumptions behind a project. And then by the time you fully understand the assumptions, then you will be able to understand, what are the preconditions that if you are going to solve a problem that is, addressing this issue based on the assumptions that we have already made, what are the preconditions that will have to be done? And then when you understand that, you can now begin to come up with activities that can directly address those preconditions. And by that, you'll be able to know that if I can address these preconditions, I will have this kind of outputs. And from the outputs, I'll be able to have this kind of outcomes. And in the long term, these outcomes will produce this kind of impact. So we already have plans for another webinar that will be coming up later in the year that will be fully addressing project design, including theory of change and all these things. So just watch out for that. We are still going to have it. So I may not be able to go fully into the details, but I may be able to address it in questions that you may have later. Then we also have your sustainability plan, which is also very, very vital. How will the project mature? So I use the illustration of, from being a fetus that depends on funding on your mother to, to be sustained, to an infant and an adult that is able to live independently of its mother. So that's the idea of sustainability plan. How can your project survive without that particular funder continuing to intervene in it? That's your sustainability plan, and it's one of the very key, vital, essential aspects of a winning proposal. So you have to have this clearly thought out and well written. Then, of course, your budgeting. Budgeting is also extremely crucial. So thankfully, I'm still going to talk about budgeting a bit towards the end. So, but what I'm going to say here is stick to what your funders are providing for in your budget. So from the ask, if they say they're giving $10,000 for this project, of course, you cannot present a project that has more than that. And even in what you assign, that's what you budget for in your budget, ensure that it is what the funder has already told you that they are willing to fund. Usually, the funders will tell you what they are willing to fund, what they are not willing to fund. So always ensure, because see, your budget can make or mark your project. Even if your project idea is so good and every other aspect of your project proposal is so awesome, mistakes in your budget can destroy everything, because a lot of persons have misused project funds. So funders try to be very wary, or funders are usually very wary of budgeting that does not fully align with what they tell you to do. So let me just put it like that. Then, of course, the monitoring and evaluation. How would you measure success? And it will be having a very clear theory of change would enable you to have come up with a very good monitoring evaluation indicators. So again, it still boils down to your logic framework or theory of change. If it's very defined, if you're able to how your activities are going to lead to the impact you want to make, then you'll be able to properly define your monitoring evaluation. Then you have your appendices as well, which is usually may also be. All right, so making your proposal stand out. So I've already mentioned a lot of this already. So please, can the person that is speaking on mute, please? So I've already mentioned a lot of this already, so I'll just be quickly rushing through it. So of course, I mentioned stories plus statistics. It makes your proposal stand out. Then your language, concise and persuasive. And then remember, your funder is king. And why do I use that concept? When it comes to marketing, we say customer is king. In the same way, when it comes to proposal writing, your funder is king. So everything you are looking at is how can I satisfy what my funder wants to fund. So how do you get to know what your funder wants to fund? Number one. Sorry, please, can we mute? Okay, so first of all, through the request for proposal. So in any application for funds, you are definitely going to see either sometimes there are very full documents that are given for the RFP. Sometimes it is just a website link, but whichever it is, you have to study it very deeply so that you can identify the keywords they're looking out for and see how you can reframe your project to fully fit into what they're looking out for. Then, of course, you can also know that through the past grantees. So you can look at, who have this particular fund that's given grants to in the past. So study the project. Sometimes they even help to post the precise executive summaries of those persons' projects. So you can see how they structured the executive summary and structure your own as well like that. Then past studies. So some funders already do background research, preliminary research on the area or the problem that they are trying to solve. So if a funder has such a research done already, that is literally one of your biggest data sources. And if possible, try to mention it try to cite those past studies in your proposal, because it shows that, they have done background work to try to, streamline your project to what the funder is looking out for. And of course, look at their current work, what are their aims, their objectives, etc. So common mistakes that lead to rejection, we have non-alignment with funder priorities, we have poor preparation. So when you're not meeting some submission requirements. So sometimes also there are stuff that you see, stuff like eligibility requirements. It means this is what the organizer wants to fund in terms of your organization. This is the kind of organization I'm looking out for. So if for any reason you do not identify on time that I will not miss this project, and you spend days and weeks working on a particular proposal, that's already like a no-no. So you have to be fully prepared. Then of course, vagueness, unclear project solutions, logic model. I think I've already mentioned this. Poor budgeting, I have mentioned this. Lack of integrity. So this is a very vital issue that funders are beginning to look out for these days. As much as it's important to sell and frame what you are doing in a way that the funder wants it, you have to be honest. So you don't have to tell a lie to sell your project effectively. So there has to be integrity, because if for any reason they discover what you said is not what is actually, like, that's like the end. Then Puza, can we use AI in proposal writing? So this is one of the questions, and quickly, yes, the quick answer is yes, you can use AI in proposal writing. However, AI is a very good tool, but a very bad master. You cannot substitute your thinking with AI. So you can use AI to, you can ask questions. So maybe you already have like some research reports that you have gathered around the problem, and you can load those reports up on AI and then begin to engage that particular AI platform on questions. Just be asking questions. Oh, what are the problems that this particular research has identified? What are the sub problems that you can pick from those kind of things, where you are asking deep questions that show that you are thinking deeply yourself, and then you can see. And even if when ChatGPT gives you any answer, please don't copy and paste that answer into your proposal. That is because the ChatGPT and stuff like it hardly sound unique. So in as much as yes, you may use it and you may borrow the idea, please write it in your own words that are very compelling. Why? Because ChatGPT usually recycles words, and funders usually know when you are using recycled words. Then don't research your data with AI. Please don't make this mistake of researching or conducting any research on data or anything that has to do with scientific research or numbers with AI. Why? Because you'll be misled. So I think on this point, so what if you don't win? Strategize, don't personalize the failure, learn and go again. If you made it into the competitive stage, so for instance, if we're invited to interview, you can reach out for feedback to know how you can do better next time. And of course, go again. So on this note, thank you so very much for listening. I know I took a bit of time, but thank you so much. I hope I have been able to do a bit of justice to this topic within my limited time. So yes, Anna Maria, I'm handing over to you.
Thank you so very much, our facilitator. I really, really enjoyed. I have learned a lot. I hope and believe everybody else has, like I have. So at this particular time, we go into questions and answer session. So those of us who have questions regarding the session, we can go ahead by unmuting the mic and asking that question. Our facilitator is here to give us those answers we are looking for to make our proposal profound and phenomenal. So those of us with questions, we can go ahead by unmuting the microphone and ask your question.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening. Thank you. You can go ahead with your question.
I am Mohammed from Kenya.
Thank you.
Yes, which AI tools is available?
Hello?
I'm saying, I'm asking what AI tools outside the ChatGPT which is available, which can be used to generate proposal ideas.
Okay, I think is your question, what are the AI tools that you can use to generate ideas?
Yes,
Okay, so there are several AI tools you can use. So for instance, of course, there's ChatGPT, which I personally use and which I think is more commonly used. And there are also some AI tools, their names are not in my mind right now, but you can just research them. So there's some AI tools that you can use to read an entire report in a very short time. So when you upload the reports on those AI tools, you can ask the AI any question based on those reports. So I think that's also another kind of AI tool that you can use because, like I said, you can use AI to interrogate research that has been done already, which you have uploaded on the platform. So if it's for that, oh, sorry, are you the one that is asking the question that you can? I did not understand the question.
Hello.
Hello? Are you the one that is saying that I did not understand the question that you asked in the chat? Okay, let me just go on. So, like I said in summary, ChatGPT is one I'll definitely recommend. And for other AI tools, I'll also recommend AI tools that what they do is to summarize reports and you can ask them questions on that. So I think that should work. So yes, the next question, please.
Hello. Good evening. I'm Becca and I'm listening from Ghana. And thank you for your presentation. I've really learned a lot. But what I want to ask is, if you have a sample proposal that was sent to a donor and then they how am I describing it? That won a grant. If you have a proposal that was sent for funding, that's actually won a grant. I don't know if you'll be able to share to our various mail addresses so we can learn. Is it possible?
So that would not be very possible because those are the intellectual property of the persons that have the project. So it's going to be a betrayal in that sense to send it. And again, like I said, it's not very um, it's not very strategic to use someone else's proposal or just a general proposal template to generate yours. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share resources that can help you in framing your project in a way that's competitive. That is what I can help you. I can help you with free resources that I can find online. But for those specific proposals that have won grants, it is not in my place to share. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Hello, can I ask you to my question?
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. Augustine from the RS. I didn't follow all your topics. It was a very, very amazing topics. I have a very bad network. So I would like to know if we can have the chance to get a copy of these topics on our mail. And if is it possible for Green Growth Africa to set a very good program to learn several times these topics is very, very interesting. It's a very, very good topics, but we can't understand everything one time. You need to share a good program for this. Maybe mindfully you can have a program of learning some persons who is interested by these topics. It's very, very good for us, as you always register for different programs. This is a very good topics we can learn several times. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Augustine, for the compliments. And yes, that is why we are organizing this series of webinars. So this is not just the only webinar, it's a full webinar series that we'll be having throughout this year on different aspects of of areas that can help you strengthen your institutional capacity as a CSO within the green growth sector. So sometimes we would have webinars that are topic based on knowledge issues that have to do with green growth, and sometimes it will be fully capacity building webinars that will help your institution, whether it is in project designing or writing, as we have done today, or different aspects. So that is like why we have this webinar series. So thank you so much. And yes, and we have shared. Yes, sorry, please give me. So we have also shared the links to the presentation slides. So you can also access the links to the presentation slides right away. You can access the PDF and download it right away. So it's already fully available and it has been shared on the chat box, as you see. So I think, Major, please, you can also help me to share the survey form for those of us that I'll really request that we fill in the survey so that we also get to know all of our monitoring and evaluation, so we get to know how impactful the project is. So yes, over to you, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Hello. Next.
Okay, Clement, can you go next? Yes,
okay, sure. Thank you. My name is Clement Isaka Anaba. I'm a Ghanaian founder of Son of Nature for Resilience Foundation, but I'm joining you from China, currently in China. Mine may not be a question. The one who asked about the AIs, they just say some of the AIs you can use to generate the ideas and then to give you how to start your design. You can use a size space, paper guide, paper pal, research charm, elicit, a lot of them. And the recent one is Google Notebook LM. And another most powerful one that is now trying to lead is a China-based AI, that's DeepSeek. All these AIs are tools that you can use to get the ideas on how to start your work. But just as the facilitator mentioned, they are to guide you on how to start, to get the idea on how to move, but not to just lift the content they'll give you on your work. It won't help you. In all other write-up, they can help you to start. Yes. And then the one who was asking of giving a sample of proposals that have won, ethically, that is not decent. But what I would say is, all call for fundings come with their guide. They'll give you clear guidelines, what they want and what you should include and what you shouldn't include. So yours is just to follow that and make sure you answer honestly what each component they are asking. You make sure you fulfill that honestly. Yeah, but it's not really right for someone to give you his or her proposal. Yes. So basically, mine is like an input, not question. Yeah, okay. So joining you from China, it's 12 a.m. Just let you know.
Thank you so much. That is some sacrifice. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too.
Thank you so much. Okay,
I have a question. Sorry, I have a question to. I have a question to the last person who commented, the one that is live from China.
Okay.
Yes, I wanted to know if you use AI, including any of those tools that he mentioned. Suppose you have written down your proposal, and maybe you feel like your paragraphs are not coming well, and you then maybe probably want to make the statements or the paragraphs to be more concise and clear, and then you use AI to maybe to summarize or sort of rephrase in order to bring some more logic on it, and then you use that regenerated content as part of your proposal or writing. Can that be considered, the new content, can that be considered as plagiarism? Or because we are saying the original content is yours, and then you ask the AI to maybe try to rephrase and make it more logical. Is that considered as plagiarism or it's not?
Okay, thank you. What I know, I'm a researcher, and now AI is a tool that all aspects of life is using. So the perspective you have mentioned, plagiarism, now they have two different check. They check plagiarism and they check AI content. They depend on the funder. So what the facilitator mentioned is that if you lift everything from the AI doesn't have its own knowledge, or it doesn't give you, it cannot tell you what will happen in the future. So the AI only goes into the systems and then pick the most popular things that are available, and it brings them for you. And that's why it's not good to use the content of AI for any other writer, whether being it a proposal or research. But if you have your idea written and you want the AI to refine it in terms of grammar, in terms of flowing, that one, I think now almost all of us is trying to use that to get your grammar straight, to get your write-up flow well. That one, the AI can assist you. You can guide it, but AI, you need to guide it. Okay, I want my proposal to follow this way. This idea should come first, then link it to this so that the reader can get the linkage in reading. The AI can help you do that. And I don't think that one, you will see it as the same. Yeah, I think that's perfect. Yeah, good. That's what I can say.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Ernest, for
And
that question.
yes,
Can
to
I
add
chip
to
in?
it, can I add
Can I
to what
chip
he
in?
has just said?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Clement if he can mention or maybe share in the chat like a list of the AI tools that he mentioned. Just in my case, to give an example, I normally use AI, the Meta and the Chat GPT to assist me in grammar and the flow of the information. But my learning is like these tools, they normally delete some key elements, and I normally like type them back when they actually been deleted. So as you mentioned, ChatGPT or these AI tools, basically they are just there to assist us, but with our brains, we need to frame according to the user. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Ernest, and thank you everybody. So, but because of time, we're trying to go with time. So, I think some persons have raised their hands, and if you want to have a question, if you want to ask a question, please also raise your hands. But I want to quickly let persons that have been raising their hands for a very long time to ask their questions, and we'll just take like 3 more questions. And I think the remaining questions you have, please send it to us on our WhatsApp group. So please, Nigeria, you can post the links again where you see all the links to the WhatsApp group everywhere, and just share the link so that they can join our WhatsApp community. So for every other question on this issue, you can share it on our WhatsApp community, or you can also later, after the YouTube live, you can post it on YouTube. Sure, anywhere that you can find us, or you can also contact us via email and let us have a question. And as I mentioned before, we compile your questions. And like I said, today's session was fully based on your questions. So we definitely listen to your questions. So if you're able to take your questions, please join our WhatsApp community, ask for questions, or you can send us your questions via email. Or you can also send the question in the additional comment section of the survey form that has also been shared. You can also add that question. And if again, there are any areas that you want us to address in subsequent webinars on topics like this, also ask it in that survey form. So yeah, this is a reminder to fill the survey form if you have not. Okay, so Hamisu Saminu. Yes, you have been raising your hand for a while. Can you unmute and ask your question, please?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm Hamis Saminu. I'm joining from Niger. So my questions have been already raised by the last interveners. So it's about the sample of a proposal if you can share. Right now, if I can remember, you say each funder has a specific a template of a guide or guideline of proposal. So in this case, there is no problem. So what I want maybe to add is that as we are beginner writing proposal, if you can schedule next time another session that can allow us
So we'll see.
To follow step by step to write. Maybe if you have an example of project that we can try to write together to get ideas.
I think I understand what you mean. So, and we'll see what we can organize around that. Even if you cannot have a webinar like this, maybe you can have a Twitter space or you can have something around that. So we'll definitely look at that. Okay, yes, Ruth Amarachi. Can you please unmute and ask your question? Ruth Amarachi, are you still with us? Okay, so while Ruth is maybe still unmuting, Abusu Fomba Robert. Sorry, I'm sorry if I did not pronounce that properly, but yes, please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, hello to everyone. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk. I'll start by appreciating the effort you are making to reach out to us, to give us knowledge, because we have been yearning for this. So I just want to find out. I am from Cameroon. My association is Arise for a Greener Globe. So we are a baby. We are just an infant association. So I don't know what are the prospects. What type of grants can I pursue? How can I get them? If you can help us.
Thank you very much, Abusu, for that
What are the
question.
prospects for this?
All right. Okay, so the first step our advice is to research on funders that fund particularly new organizations or new projects. So like I mentioned in the presentation, I personally know of the price because I've also like had to do applications around the price. So I know of the price. They fund like they do not want established organizations at all. You have to be less than 1 year. And there are also some funders like that. So the first thing, of course, would be to do research. And when you do research, you'll be able to see what the kind of projects that those organizations fund, and you'll be able to see how you can tailor your project offerings to what they are looking out for. And then the second thing is try to build track records even without funding. So yes, money, the world wants some money, we all need money. But there are still certain values that you can be able to create even without having that funding that you want to have. So it will be very important to go back to the drawing board and see how can we create some track record even without this funding. So for instance, I should mention again, before I ask you all to join our WhatsApp community once again. In our WhatsApp community very recently, someone mentioned how they are undertaking very interesting reforestation activities in their community. And he said they are doing this with zero funds, but they are actually taking those steps. So if I am a funder and I am seeing a project or an organization that even without funding, they are taking active projects that have impact, of course, I'll be willing to give them more funding to scale up what they're already doing. So there's always some impact you can create even without having the cash. So try to get try to make that impact that you can make without the money, and it will give you a very good leverage even as a new organization. So yes, so I think some persons are still raising their hands, but this is already 5:30 by my time, 5:27 by my time, West African time, 4:27 GMT, and we are 15 minutes behind schedule. So I would really love to beg our indulgence that at this point we might not be able to take any more questions. So like I said before, please join our WhatsApp community. In our WhatsApp community, you can ask any questions at all that you need to ask. So for our announcements and next steps, so as like I said before, this is a series of webinars that will continue organizing, or webinars that we'll be organizing throughout this year. So of course, very soon our registration for the next webinar will be out. Our registration link will be out. So of course, as soon as you see it, register and please attend, because we are doing this for you and we want CSOs in Africa to have as much support free of charge as they can have. And then the second is the links that we have for you to fill. So the first thing, like I've mentioned again and again, please fill the survey forms. We need your feedback. We need to know what we can improve on. We need to know how this webinar is impacting you, because it's one thing to organize a webinar, it's another thing for that webinar to have impact. So we need to be able to measure our own impact. So please help us, kindly help us to fill those survey forms. We need them. As many people as are available, please fill the survey forms. Let us know how it's impacted you. And of course, we also have our WhatsApp community. So Google Africa has a WhatsApp community for green growth actors, CSOs, and everyone within our sector. So please join the WhatsApp platform. You'll see the link that has been sent and it's still being sent. So please join the WhatsApp platform. And then I have a very, very, very special request that I'll be making. And that is that please subscribe to our YouTube channel. So People Africa has a YouTube channel where we have is Brigo TV, to be precise. It's not just on YouTube, but we post our videos also on YouTube. By YouTube, we are trying to promote open media platforms that can accelerate and amplify the whole discussion and awareness of green growth in Africa. So that is why our videos are posted on an open platform like YouTube, where you can access it without having to pay. So please follow our channel on YouTube. The link has also been sent and is also being sent in the chat box. So please follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's also where the live stream is going on right now. So yes, that's my special request for everyone on this call. And as you subscribe, please let us know you have subscribed. Just type done in the chat box. Let me know that we are subscribing. Please type done in the chat box as soon as you subscribe. Please type done in the. Thank you so much, Clement. Yes, please let's go ahead. Thank you so much, those of us that have already subscribed. Nejo, please can you help us to share the link again so that they can see the link again? Yes, thank you very much. Thank you so much for everyone that has been subscribing. Please continue subscribing. Nejo, can you hear me? Please help us to share the links one more time so that persons that are just seeing the links can see it again. So yes, thank you so much everyone for joining today. It has been an amazing time with every single one of us. Thank you for committing to what we do at Good Africa. Thank you for showing up. Thank you again for those that are typing done. I am seeing you. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for every person that asked questions ahead, because that really helped us, and that have also engaged in this conversation. So thank you so much. See us very soon next month. Yes, see us very soon next month. The link has been posted once again. So we have the link to, okay, the name is The Prize for Abusu. The name is The Prize. Yes, The Prize is the name of the organization. Thank you so much. And you will be able to access the link. There is a link to the presentation that has been sent, so you can just directly go ahead and download the presentation. Please fill our survey forms. Please subscribe to Google TV on YouTube. And yes, so one more request before we call it an evening. So we usually take group photos when we are done. So I would like us to open our cameras and give a big smile into the screen so that we can take a very quick shot. Yes, thank you so much. Please, let's keep opening our cameras and give a very big smile. Yes, thank you. Oh, wow, I love our they're so lovely. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Let's have a lovely rest of evening. Bye.
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 Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the
Bye
session.
bye. Lovely
Bye.
night.
Bye.